everyone, I'm Taylor Hudak with Activism Munich, and today wraps up the first day of Julian Assange's extradition hearings. Now, earlier today, Assange was rearrested under the new superseding indictment, which made the previous extradition requests dismissed and void. This new superseding indictment does not include any additional charges. However, it does allege that Assange conspired with the hacktivist collective Anonymous, specifically the group LulzSec. It also alleges that Assange encouraged members of the public to leak to WikiLeaks and encouraged an individual to hack into an Icelandic bank company. The defense did file a request today to dismiss this evidence in the case. However, the judge did deny that request. The defense then went on to request that this extradition hearing be postponed, and that request was denied as well. Emmy, can you tell me, what are your thoughts on this first day of the extradition hearings?
It's a very difficult time. We are returning to court for the second part of the extradition hearing in the Julian Assange case. The most alarming reports are coming out from the court, restricting access to the public, restricting access to the press, as well as civil society groups, non-governmental organizations, parliamentarians, etc. It doesn't seem like open justice. But this is not a surprise for someone who has followed the case at every step. We have seen process abuse again and again. Julian Assange's health has suffered over a period of 10 years. He's not going to likely find justice inside this court. Our efforts continue with solidarity activism outside the court. Please find the opportunity to use whatever tools you have available to assist in campaigning for Julian Assange's freedom and for press freedom that is in the dock today. So write to your parliamentarians, representatives, write to the press, write to your local government, and try to mobilize civil society for this very, very important battle for human rights and democracy.
Similar to previous hearings, many journalists and NGO observers attempting to connect to the teleconference line to cover the hearings had a very difficult time getting through to the courts. Now, it came to many people's surprise that 40 NGO observers earlier today were denied access to the video link. The judge claims that this was a mistake, that they were even granted access. During the afternoon session, we were introduced to our first expert witness in this case. Can you describe who that was and what the testimony entailed?
Yes, that was Professor Mark Feldstein from the University of Maryland. He's a professor of journalism. He spent, as I understand it, 20 years as an investigative journalist before he became a professor. And the first part of his testimony was focused on the nature and importance of the leaking and publishing of classified documents in the history of the United States. Professor Feldstein said that this went back to the origins of the United States, even under George Washington. He explains that never before has either a journalist or journalistic outlet been prosecuted because of the protections guaranteed under the First Amendment of the Bill of Rights. He explained as well the significance of national security leaks and how that they occur practically every single day. That there are studies, various studies, including government reports, that show how extensive they are and how significantly they contribute to shedding light on government decision-making and malfeasance. But ultimately, his testimony was cut short due to technical difficulties. So we'll be starting again tomorrow.
Can you talk about exactly what happened with the video link?
Well, at one point, we could hear, because I was following via video link as well, we could hear the professor, but the court couldn't, or we could hear the court, but we couldn't hear the professor, or until eventually we couldn't hear anybody, and then eventually somebody from court services explained to everybody following the case that court had adjourned for the day. So it's there were times, most of the time we could hear rather well, but there were other times where literally, for example, Professor Feldstein would be sitting in his chair for about 10 minutes. It's clear he didn't know what was going on. He couldn't hear anybody, and nobody else could hear him. So towards the end of it, it became a bit of a shit show.
Due to the technical issues experienced in court, the first witness was unable to finish his testimony, and it will therefore resume tomorrow on Tuesday for the second day of the extradition hearings. We, of course, will be reporting to you on this case, so make sure that you do subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Taylor Hudak with Activism Munich, and thank you all for watching.